Hey, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Jobu, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. You know, they tell me, don't quit your day job, and I haven't. So I'm out here on the rat race on the DC Beltway, sitting in stop-and-go traffic. What kind of irks me, though, is over here to my left is the hot lanes, the express lanes, the escalating toll road. Basically, it's about 8 miles here where you can kind of bypass a lot of the traffic. But currently, at this moment, it's $15.75 to go that 8 miles. And it saves you, get this, all of about 6 minutes of travel time. Because eventually it merges back on here, and you're still back in stop-and-go traffic. You know, I mean, but that's just straight up highway robbery. But I guess it is what it is. So, anyway. It's the offseason for our Dallas Cowboys, so it's time to start speculating on who's coming and who's going, and so on. But a true sign that your team is headed in the right direction is aging veterans want to come to your team because they're looking at last chances to get a ring. And so when you start hearing about AP thinking, you know, hey, I'd love to go back to Dallas and where he grew up, and he'd like to be a Dallas Cowboy and so on, you know, and people are excited about that prospect. But see, what you have to understand is you're thinking that you're getting AP from 4 or 5 years ago. AP has been on a steady decline for the last few years, and now he's getting injuries. So what you're going to end up getting from him is not a whole lot. And when you look at the excitement we had when we signed Eddie George was a shell of himself and really couldn't get more than about 3 yards a carry. And I'm afraid that AP is in that same kind of category. And unless you can sign him to a veteran minimum, and I mean a veteran minimum, it's not worth the roster spot and the money. You're better off developing some young guy behind Ezekiel Elliott. Now, DeMarcus Ware, that one's a little bit different, but it's still the same thing. DeMarcus Ware is not DeMarcus Ware of 5 or 6 years ago. I mean, DeMarcus Ware had a problem staying healthy with us towards the end of his career in Dallas. He's played well at times, but more times than not, he's been injured. Would he be a great mentor for the guys on his field? Of course he would. But again, if you sign him, it's got to be a very team-friendly, veteran minimum contract that's incentive-laced. And I'm not sure that DeMarcus Ware wants to take that. Now, would it be a fantastic story if DeMarcus Ware came back and won a Super Bowl in Dallas and rode off the sunset? That would be an incredible story. But, you know, you got to realize that you're not getting DeMarcus Ware from the past. You're getting DeMarcus Ware, a guy who can't stay healthy, who is slowing down. So, again, I don't see it happening, but you never know. Some people say sign JPP. Well, JPP is going to end up getting a contract probably about $75 million, and I think that's going to be way priced out of where we are. So forget about that one. I still say you get a guy like Calais Campbell. He's still not going to be cheap, but Calais Campbell throughout his career is a guy who has always stayed healthy, is always a 7-8 sack a season guy, who disrupts from the line, a guy who demands those double teams and the attention on the line because you got to stop him and will open up lanes for the other guys. And I think he's got a good 3 or 4 years left and would make a hell of a difference on that line. Now, what I'm really excited about is been watching some of the clips of Jalen Smith. Now, Jalen Smith has been said that he's gotten a lot of his speed back, and that's running straight ahead. Well, unfortunately, football, there's very little straight ahead running. There's a lot of cutting that's involved, and that's where that knee and that nerve, if they're not there, he's not going to be able to move and weave his way through traffic to get to the tackles. But you're going to see more and more of his workouts where he does start to get that lateral speed and that lateral movement back. And if he can get back to 100% by the time the season starts, he can be a big difference maker on that line. On that defense. So We've got a lot of work to do with all the free agents that we have. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to sign all of them. But one thing that truly helped the Cowboys last year was actually keeping a lot of their free agents. A lot of people were disappointed that we didn't sign really any big names and so on. But having guys who know the system, who have been in it for a couple of years, makes it easier to coach. You may end up being able to bring in better talent, but there's an adjustment period that has to take place for them to learn your system and get used to playing with the other guys around them. So that was one of the reasons why that defense improved as much as it did. However, we do need to add some better parts, and that's where I say a Calais Campbell would help that line, and then drafting the best defensive end that you can at 28. So, fortunately, traffic looks like it's finally picking up a little bit, so I'm rolling on my way to work. And that's my thoughts for this morning on the Dallas Cowboys. Been really busy at this new job and things, so I haven't had as much time to spend looking at potential draft picks and free agents just yet. But once things start settling down, I'll have more time to get into that. So I'll keep getting that together. Oh, one other thing. Robert had asked earlier on the scale of 1 to 10, what are our chances of the Dallas Cowboys going to the Super Bowl? Well, most of the teams, most of the sites and stuff have the Cowboys rated going into next year as like the third, fourth best team in the NFL, which I think is about right. But, you know, you've got to figure out what free agents we're going to lose, what free agents we're going to bring in, and how good is our draft. So things can change, as we know, from 12-4 to 4-12, just like that. You know, you can be the Super Bowl champion and not make the playoffs next year. And in fact, half of the teams that made the playoffs this year won't make them next year. However, I feel that the Dallas Cowboys have a good base team, good cornerstone pieces that they'll be able to build on. And if we can get some better coaching in crunch time, I think we got a good shot as anybody to go to the Super Bowl. I'll say 7.5 will be on a scale of 1 to 10 our chances of going to the Super Bowl. So as always, friends, I'm Mark Holmes. This is Cowboy Joe Boo, and we're on our way to our day job. Have a great day.